All right, yesterday I put out the video about the Tennessee parent who was arrested for picking his kids up from school on foot. Okay, I see another thing came out today. Glenn Beck's putting this out there. I think he's violating the federal law here because he's going against the gag order about this case. Justina Pelletier. It's in Connecticut. The hospital that she's in has basically, with the state, taken custody of this child for 9 fucking months. 9 months. Okay? We got to think about this in its grand total and the full scheme of things that have happened in front of us. We have Robert Smalls, who in Maryland was arrested for questioning Common Core education. Arrested and charged with assault on a police officer when the police officer clearly assaulted that man. We see a Tennessee parent. This Tennessee parent, what happens to him? He goes to pick his kids up from fucking school. And what happens to him? He gets arrested for disorderly conduct. We're going to pick his kids up from school on foot. And we got girls in the hospital sending secret, folded origami notes to her parents to say, please help me. I've basically been kidnapped. And what's going on here? What's happening in our country? Do we not see that what's happening to us is our parents in this country, our parents of our children, are being targeted. Our children are being indoctrinated by a school system that wants to teach them how to not learn with Common Core. We go to the hospital, we disagree with the doctor's diagnosis, and the doctors have been seeing the kid for 5 years, disagree too, and these parents have their kid taken away, kidnapped. And when you want to pick your kids up from school, and you don't want to wait in the line, you want to walk up on foot because you live close by, oh, you have to wait. And we don't give you your kids until we're ready to give you your kids. Do we not understand the evil we're being faced with? When you can't raise your own fucking children in America, who's gonna? The state's gonna raise them, I guess. Let's feed them to the public indoctrination system. Let's let them fill our children's minds with absolute shit. I'm starting to feel like a hypocrite because I'm saying I'm tired of this. I'm tired of waiting. But it's not to the point. It's not to the point where they're pushing us so hard because they want us to act up. They want us to do something crazy. Because then the parents, they're doing to the military too. They're closing the war. They want the veterans to act out because then they can make them look like crazy nut jobs with PTSD and take their guns and use fear to blind you all. And so I'm skeptical that to not want to act up because it's like they're pushing us. But they're not doing anything so crazy that it justifies us pulling our guns out yet. We're not to that point, but they want us to do something because they want to label us. They want to put us in a place where we feel like we have no other options. Because the judge is like, this 9-year-old girl kidnapped, the judge put a gag order on the case so nobody can talk about it. What the fuck? So the media can't be honest about a kidnapping of a small girl. It is time. It's been more and more time every single day has passed. We all need to wake the fuck up. I'm busy right now. I got a job. I gotta go to work for right now. It's like, but I feel like I have to do this because you all need to know what's going on. You need to look up your windows and see that the people that have truth are not the people with the badges. The people that protect justice are not the ones that sit behind the bench. I want my right to own a firearm back. I had to fight for that. I've never done a violent thing in my life. I have like a weak conviction, okay? But they want to take my guns, and they never wanted to give them back. I had to fight tooth and nail for that. I never heard a fly that unless it attacked me first, the machete or something. I mean, like, you have to come after me, and not before I would ever get violent. But I am somehow a threat. I'm a patriot. If you watch my videos, you can see that. But the patriots, the parents, and the people, we the people, are the people that should control this country, are the people that are not holding the reins. The people that hold the reins are people who issue tickets and they create laws that are unconstitutional. They do it because it protects their paycheck. Our country is governed by a class of people that play both sides of the aisle, that have sold their principles for money and power. Cops enforce any unjust law that the politicians pass because if they get tickets and fines, it pays their mortgage. And judges do the same thing. Protect the revenue of the county, and the federal government and the federal level, and the state government and the state level. When are you going to wake up? I do what I can. I've defunded the government in my end of the book. We all scream to Washington to defund the Obamacare, defund all this stuff. Do it for us, politicians. Do it for us. Instead of saying, you know what? We have a personal responsibility for freedom. And if you don't do what you can do, and you delegate your responsibility to some distant capital with a bunch of corrupt men who've been bad stewards and bad guardians of freedom, you think it's going to get fucking better? That's insanity. It's the definition of it. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. They haven't done a good job already, so let's trust them a little more. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll stop. Maybe it will just get worse. Wake up! Is having your thumb through your ass and being that fucking just oblivious that enjoyable? Really? Is it that really tickle your pickle that much? Where you just willing to let freedom die? Or is it that you're scared of the consequences? You're scared of not paying your taxes, not giving them the money to fund their tyranny anymore. You're scared of that little short-term consequence of losing a battle in the court with the IRS, this and that. You know, if enough of us stood up, they couldn't do a damn thing. If half the country stops paying taxes, this whole fucking shebang ends. Because the half of us that should do it are the ones that are paying all the money. The other half are the freaking leeches who pay almost nothing. It's our money, the producers, the patriots, the job creators that fund this government and this country and the oppression that it exerts on us. If you want it to end, you have to be responsible for it ending. And nobody else but you can do it. Because the people that we put in charge obviously can't, because they would have done it already if they were going to. You have to be responsible. You have to say, I will not fund my own oppression. I will not fund my own slavery. I will not fund my children's kidnapping. I will not fund the schools telling me how to raise my children. I will not fund them telling me what I can teach and what I can't teach my child. If you fund it, you don't have to. It doesn't matter whether or not you care or you consent to it or not, because you give it the money to enforce its laws on you and your family and your children. Bite the bullet. Wake up. The fearing the IRS, that's a short-term fear. It's false logic. At the end of the day, the thing you should be most fearful of is this: freedom dying. I said it yesterday. There's a smell in the air all over this country. You smell it when you drive by a cop's having somebody pulled over. I smelled it the other day when I was driving through Simi Valley. And I saw a kid sitting in front of McDonald's with a girl from the curb. And there's a cop sitting there talking to him. And their cop rolls up in his car, gets out of the door, doesn't say a word, and just tackles the kid, the guy. Like, and I smelled this decay in the air. This putrid, rancid smell like fucking rotten meat. I smell it when I watch the politicians on TV. Sitting there, talking about what's good for us. When Harry Reid, just now in the Senate, passes the nuclear option, saying they only need 51 votes instead of 60 now to pass anything. Okay, you know what that is? 51% ruling out the other 49. That's mob rule. That means if you have one more person that agrees with you in your opposition, you can force the other people what to do and tell them what to do. You can force it upon them, whether they care or not. It's the whole point of having 60%, because it's not mob rule now. It's like it's a legit majority. Most of the country does want this, and it's not just having one more person than your opposition. That's why we're a republic. So we're not a democracy, because democracy is really just mob rule. And we've gotten there. We have building codes now. The code enforcement officials come around to our houses and say, oh, you stop working on that, you need to get a permit. So I have to pay you for the right to maintain my property? What the fuck? I smell, when that happens, I smell that putrid, rancid smell. The decay of our moral values, our character as a country. Not religious moral values like, we feel this because we're... No, I'm talking about the values of freedom and liberty, under which all atheist and Christian alike can live in peace. The values our fathers, our founding fathers, promoted are dying in the streets every single day, in the jails every single day, as victimless criminals are locked up and kept there for years and never hurt a soul. As our politicians pass laws saying, we know what's best for you. You, the individual, don't know what's good for you, and so we have to protect you. And now our government's our risk management department decides what risks we can and can't take. Maybe soon skydiving will be too risky. They don't want skydiving because we could fall and hit the ground if the parachute doesn't open. It's just a rare occurrence that it's saying we're going to protect the 10,000 people who enjoy it for the one person that could have a problem. We're going to protect the 10,000 people, even though you'll more than likely never have a problem. We do not need them deciding what risks we do and don't take. We are free people. If you want to drive around without a seatbelt, drive around without a fucking seatbelt. Who do you hurt besides you? If you want to do that, I don't do it. But if you want to do it, hey, God bless you. Go your fucking merry way. If you get killed, driving around, don't use seatbelt. That's just Darwinism. That's how you cleansing the gene pool. Hopefully, you didn't produce before it happened. But that's your choice, not theirs. Your child's health care is your choice, not theirs. And when you don't agree, they get to lock your kid up for 9 months, kidnap her, and she says to sneak folded origami notes to you saying, "Help me." It's Justina Pelletier in Connecticut. It's happening right now, and the judge put a gag order in the case so people couldn't talk about it. And Glenn Beck is going like, why have we not heard about this? Why have we not seen this? Because we're all scared. The judge puts a gag order. Oh, don't talk about it. Shh. Fuck that. Grow some balls. Stand for your principles now. It's my phrase here. I never heard this before, but I say, your principles are your bones. They're the core of who you are. But bones without muscle, principles without action, mean nothing. So those principles are your bones, and your actions are the meat on those bones. This right here, this flesh, this right here, the muscles that make your bones strong, they hold your muscles in a certain shape. But without the muscles, those principles, those bones, mean nothing. They're empty, hollow words. They're words that have no value. Because you have not taken the steps to stand for what they mean, and what you believe in. So if you want to keep paying this government money, you want to keep giving it taxes that it hasn't earned, and void your declarational duty and right as stated in the Declaration of Independence, that you have to give consent. It means you have to be aware of what's going on and consent to that, to the government, for them to have governance over you. If you are willing to just fund it, whether you disagree or not, you have voided your duty. It's not just your right, it's your duty to do that as a citizen. To stand for freedom, and when that happens, when it becomes abusive, to say, no, I am done. And this will go no further. It stops here, at my doorstep. If we did that together, it wouldn't just stop on this doorstep. It would stop in this country. But nobody has the balls to stand up and do it because they're scared of a short-term consequence when the real long-term effect is the death of freedom in this country. I will end with reminding you of this. It took 2,000 years of great scholars and debate to create America. Since the Greek city-states and the Roman Empire, people, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, Copernicus, talked of freedom, the essence of man being free. They put great debate and thought into it. They wrote books called The Republic that our founding fathers read. And all that, they read all those guys. Our founding fathers read them. And then they advanced further, all up to this revolution, the French Revolution that is, with Voltaire, Rousseau, around that same time, Montesquieu, Locke, famous philosophers of freedom that our founding fathers read. They took all that and they piled it together. And took all that to create this country. And literally, it took 2,000 years for this idea to become what we are. And even then, our country being started was a 1 in 3 shot. A third of our country supported the British before the Revolution. A third were not, didn't care, and a third were for it. They're for our country becoming its own nation. A 1 in 3 chance, based on the populational cross-section of this country at the time of the Revolution, was what we had. Our founding fathers knew it was right, and they said, you know what, fuck the fact that 2/3 of the country doesn't agree with me. I know it's morally right. I know it in my soul. And they wouldn't trade their truth for a lie. That evil word, compromise, we see in politics. That non sequitur word that assumes both options are equal to be worked. When, ice cream at the grocery store, you want vanilla, I want chocolate. Okay, we can compromise on that. They're both ice cream. But when you have truth and lies, they're not both ice cream here, buddy. Talking about shit sandwiches and ice cream. Take a bite of what you will. That's where we stand. That's where we are. As you watch this today, you know what I say is true. Look around you and wake up and see it with your own eyes and acknowledge it for the first time if you haven't acknowledged it before. And acknowledge it. When I say acknowledge it, just do, yeah, you can all say, I see what's going on. Yeah, it's bad. I know. Horrible. You know, Chuck, I hear you, buddy. No. Tell your boss, I want to change my W-2 to a 10. Just so I don't have anything deducted. And if we all do that, maybe the bosses will stand up. When the IRS comes and says, hey, we're going to lean this person's wages, they don't do it. Because maybe they finally get some courage from watching the person that doesn't even own the business just doing, saying, you know, I'm going to take this risk. Courage begets courage. But fear also begets fear. As we all live in fear, we all remain to live in fear. What will continue is what you allow. You can only be robbed so many times if you were willingly before you were just willingly letting it happen, knowing that it's coming. Will you choose to sit there and be robbed by somebody who doesn't appreciate even the things they take? No thief does. And the government obviously doesn't either. So if you want to let it continue, be my guest. And I will fucking die fighting for what you will not. And if you remain free, it will not be because of you. It will be because better men than you, people of principle, men of character and courage, that had more values and more in their gut as far as self-control and just, you know, just like the self-righteousness of having the truth, they have more than you do, and they keep you free. They sacrifice on the altar of freedom to keep you free. And so you are just a benefactor of their goodwill and their effort. Makes you a leech who has something that he has not deserved, has something he has not earned, who are willing to put the time or the thought or the action into keeping. And I will pay that cost for you if I must. But if you want this to work out and we want it to not be as painful as it could be, we all need to do it together. And you need not be leeches. Stand up and fight for fucking freedom. And you know, every time you see oppression, even if you're going to get chewed up by the gears of that machine, you must throw yourself on them, on that machine, and make it stop working. Make the gears stop. Be the bolt in the cog that stops the wheel. There's a famous speech, and I don't like some of the things the guy was talking about, but he said something. We have to throw ourselves upon the gears and the levers of the machine. And the machine it becomes obvious to people in charge that this machine will not work unless we are happy. We will make the thing stop. We will dismantle it piece by fucking piece. When we do that, they will see that there is no other way but the way of the people, of freedom, liberty, and justice. Because if there is anything else, there will be hell to pay. And not just for us, but for them too. Stand up. Live for your principles and stand for them now, or die for them later in a quiet corner by yourself. When they come to get you, you've done nothing to stop them. And people have already been taken to the point where there's nobody to speak for you. This is it. This is the death of America. Slowly by attrition, by 1,000 little cuts. So that one day we wake up and freedom is gone and we wonder where it all went. Surprised that somehow it disappeared. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for watching.